All right, I just wanted to get on here and go live today to discuss the latest news that's going on, centered around Iran now and the Trump administration moving apparently this large armada being led by the USS Abraham Lincoln towards Iran. I guess it's going towards the into the Persian Gulf here, and they're getting ready for anything, it looks like. And I'm just going to give you my perspective straight up. Hang on, I'm touching up a couple of things here. Yeah, there we go. A little bit brighter. There we go. I'm just going to give you my perspective on all of this as a under 40 voter, because I saw an interesting Rasmussen Reports poll covering this topic, and I'm going to dive into that a little bit later on this stream. But, basically it's like we were promised a lot by this Trump administration during his campaign. We were promised no new wars, for instance, and we were promised a lot of things like the golden age here in America. And I, as a young millennial, have what you'd call Middle East fatigue. I've said that several times on this channel. And, it's one thing to argue on behalf of the Middle East if you live in the old world or if you're concerned with what's going on over there. But this whole Iran thing is growing really tiresome to me, in all honesty. Middle East fatigue is real. I grew up in the era of the Middle East wars, those early 2000s. I was a child. And I remember seeing on the news all the time how it was going. Soldiers' lives are lost. It just seemed like this fruitless, endless war. And that's because biblically, even that region is cursed. And it is what it is. So Trump's moving apparently aircraft carriers, warships, all being led by the USS Abraham Lincoln. And now I'm getting reports too. I'm seeing we have 35,000 troops, soldiers on standby. And for me, like the ultimate heinous act here, in all honesty, when it comes to this Iran confrontation, these tensions built up, would be to see troops, boots on the ground, deployed once again. It was one thing last year to bomb their nuclear stations and whatever we did, get in and get out. I could almost justify that at that point. It's like, all right, better to be safe than sorry. One expensive bombing run, we took out their nuclear capabilities, we're out. No more foreign entanglements, no boots on the ground. That was the best case scenario there. And it's like, okay, fine. But now it's like, why are we going back? You see, the big problem here is, and what we have going on right now is all these countries, the tensions are building, and these countries now are all trying to intervene. So apparently Turkey is trying to mediate heavy, and they're trying to actually mediate on behalf of us, it seems. They're trying to persuade Iran to back down on this whole nuclear stuff. Meanwhile, you have our now Middle East allies like Saudi Arabia and Qatar begging Trump to ease up. They're begging Trump, please don't do this. Please don't send the armada there. Please stay away from Iran. Don't do this. And so it's like the Middle East is like dividing right now. It's fracturing. The tensions are building. And it's all eerily reminiscent to me of like pre-Iraq war almost. So I'm very skeptical of what's going on right now, especially, like I said, as a young millennial who already has Middle East fatigue. I already lived through all of this nonsense. And it just seems like the regime change in Iran is now going to be inevitable. And forgive me if you find this offensive. Actually, don't. I don't even need your fucking forgiveness, in all honesty. This is my opinion, and it's backed by historical facts and data. Regime change doesn't work, especially in the Middle East. It has a lousy track record of working. I mean, we have Afghanistan that went to shit. We spent like 20 years in Afghanistan, and pretty much the second we pulled out of that region, they surrendered to the enemy. Iraq, there's ISIS, Libya. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I thought that there was at least a small bit of hope in this Trump administration when he announced stuff like the Monroe Doctrine. I was all for what we did in Venezuela, for instance. I love the idea of dominating the Western Hemisphere here as America. The American empire will rise again, right? Take control of the West. Rid the West of Chinese influence. That's what we essentially did in Venezuela. I'm all for that. I have no problem with that. And that was actually almost our saving grace. We had our Navy here. It was focused on protecting our Western Hemisphere. It was wonderful. That I'm all for. When it comes to Iran, I have so many different thoughts on that, though. And I have so many different issues with what's going on. If you're all for, go join the army. Okay, thanks for your comment. Carrie Wilkstrom, 698. Thank you for your comment. Why don't you join the army? Okay, anyways, On the topic of nukes, by the way, this is what I also wanted to discuss. I see viewers are starting to come in. Please, if you're a second or third time viewer, especially you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe to American Advocates, forming the coalition here. Be sure to like the stream too. It truly helps with the algorithm. Now, on the topic of nukes, this is my first problem, right? It seems like they're looking for an excuse. It seems like they're looking for the excuse to do this thing on Iran now. It's like the ante keeps getting up. It's like, okay, well, there's a revolution breaking out there and we have to help their people. Truthfully, we don't. I feel a great deal of sympathy for their people. And if a revolution breaks out in a country overseas, I have no problem with that. I actually have been watching and trying to pay attention to the Iran revolution that was breaking out there. I would love to see nothing more than the people take back control of their country. Oust the regime there. That's fine. If the people from underneath oust their own regime, fine. But I'm a laissez-faire, hands-off kind of a guy when it comes to the old world in the Eastern Hemisphere. That's been my theme on this channel pretty much from the start. The Monroe Doctrine is what it's all about. And this goes completely against that. That's my biggest problem. And now we're getting these like conflicting reports. The Trump administration seems happy now almost to go back on what they were saying just under a year ago. We bombed Fordo. We bombed two of the other nuclear bases there. And we apparently, total obliviation was the term that Trump used. Total annihilation. We destroyed their capabilities for nukes. Yet here's the Trump administration now telling us we have to strike them again because they have nuclear capabilities. That's just like, okay, what are we doing then? Did we take them out? Was the mission successful last year? What was it, June? Was it successful or wasn't it? Because I thought it was successful according to the administration, but here we are now dealing with this whole, they're taking a complete 180 turn on it. Oh, well, they have nuclear capabilities. Again, we must destroy it. It's like, if it was total annihilation like the Trump administration said, we shouldn't have to worry about Iran for at least a couple of years. We shouldn't have to be doing this. But yet here we are getting ready. The USS Abraham Lincoln leading the Armada right to the Persian Gulf, preparing for strikes. So that's my first problem with this. That's literally my first problem. Let's see. Philip Diego 4098 says immigration comes from those countries. Yeah, well, listen, as I've stated on this channel multiple times, I don't know if you're a first-time viewer or not, but I am very much for shutting down our borders for the next 20 years. And when we reopen them, no more third world immigration. None. We need to discriminate heavily on who we allow into this country. And we need to do it from the frame of what benefit they add to our nation. Not about what we can do for them. Fuck them. Are they going to come here and add value? Most of the time the answer is no, especially if they're coming from a third world. So the answer is no more third worlders. Easy. Anyways, back on point here. My next big problem with this is during the Trump campaign, right? During his presidential campaign, we were promised no new wars. No new wars, and we were promised the golden age, right? And now it's like, okay, so Trump's had to do a 180 turn on the whole, we destroyed their nuclear capabilities, completely destroyed. They're taken out. We don't have to worry about Iran now. We destroyed it. Now all of a sudden it's no, actually we didn't, I guess. They have nuclear capabilities. We must strike them again. Heavier this time, harder. We must destroy them. There's a revolution breaking out. If we time it up now, we can destroy their nuclear capabilities and their people can overthrow the government. Regime change. Yeah. It's like, I am so sick of this. And then secondly, it's the no new wars. And listen, like I said, I've said this before on this channel multiple times now, that whole Eastern Hemisphere is called the old world for a reason. It's old. It's outdated. It sucks over there. What we should be focusing on, especially here in America, is the Western Hemisphere. It's why I love the Monroe Doctrine so much. And the Monroe Doctrine worked perfectly during the Venezuela conflict that we just went through. We kidnapped Maduro. We brought him back. He's literally dealing with our law system now over here, right? We just annihilated him. We shredded him. It was efficient. It was quick. It was lethal. It was amazing. That's what I want to see more of. In the process of doing that, now we take their oil, rightfully so. That's our oil. It's our Western Hemisphere, bitch. And we ousted Chinese presence from the West because China was dealing heavily with Venezuela. By the way, on this channel, which is why you should subscribe here, I broke all of that here before I saw any other YouTube, and I watch a lot of channels. I broke all of that here way before other channels were discussing how China was establishing a presence in Venezuela. I was talking about that shit in early December, late November. People, especially idiotic liberals, they were still literally talking about fishermen and fishing boats. Oh my God, Trump's lost his mind. He's blowing up fishing boats. It's like, you fucking retards. The real reason was because, one, we wanted the oil, but even beyond that, it was because China was building telecom infrastructures in Venezuela. They were literally building harbors for their boats. They were using Venezuela as a new proxy point against us, and they had pretty much enslaved the country of Venezuela through debt, which is a tactic China uses economically on several different countries, mind you. I covered all of that here well before any other channel did. Everybody was talking about fishing boats still, which they clearly weren't. They weren't fishing boats. They had like 3 speed motors attached on the back. But liberals were literally saying, well, 3 $75,000 each speed motors doesn't mean that it's not a fishing boat. It's like, yeah, the fuck, it does mean that. They weren't fishing boats, you absolute morons. Regardless, that Monroe Doctrine was beautiful then because it showcased everything that was beneficial about it. We were laissez-faire, hands off of the East. We literally couldn't intervene with Iran. As much as I feel for the people there, it's on them to overthrow their government and create their own regime change. That's how, by the way, that's how you would know a regime change would work, is if all the people rose up and did it themselves. It actually happened, I believe, twice last year in 2 different countries. I believe Nepal was one of them, and I can't remember what the other one was now. But like this is still happening across the world. It just what's most important when it happens is that the people who are living there do it. When foreign countries, and that's what we are to Iran, we're a foreign country to Iran. When we intervene, it never works. Libya failed, Afghanistan failed, Iraq failed. And it's just like it's a pattern over and over again now. So I'll take a look at some comments here. Speed motors. You mean outboards? Oh, forgive me, bro. Wow, wrong term. Thanks for correcting me. Yeah, outboards. Outboard motors. Wow, what would I have done without you, Reese Jewell? Wow. Thank you for that important, pertinent correction. People would have never understood what I meant if it weren't for you. You're very valuable here, Reese Jewell. Thank you. Fishermen don't soup the engines up. Yeah. We ain't worried about China, chump. We're worried about our own government. Well, that's because you're a fucking idiot, progressive DSA. China's the enemy here. We're worried about our own government. Don't you see the Gestapo rounding up colored people and putting them in Alligator Alcatraz, which is like a concentration camp? Yeah, I voted for that. I'm not worried about it. Say hi from Tehran. Nepal is in the east. Why do you care? I don't care, but I still pay attention to world events, Jerzik. What kind of questions are these, man? You guys are so fucking stupid, honestly. You know, it's like the George Carlin quote, right? Like half the world is stupid, and it's like you have to remember if half the world's population is stupid, that means half of them are even dumber than that, right? It's like that's what's in my chat right now. It's so ridiculous. Spittin' Facts says Mason W2000. Thank you, appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe, give the stream a like if you're enjoying the content. Now, listen. This is where I'm leading this whole conversation with Venezuela, right? Because Trump recognizes patterns. He's good at gauging public opinion. Believe it or not, people don't believe that, especially liberals with TDS. But he is, and he has good instincts. Venezuela was pretty popular with his own voter base, at least to a degree. It was very popular with me. I loved it. And he knows that. And so Trump is now comparing what we're about to be possibly doing in Iran to what he did in Venezuela. And I just think that that's so full of shit. Like, that is so bullshit to do that. It was completely not like that at all. And I already stated it's because of the Monroe Doctrine. We need to take care of our Western Hemisphere. I'm all for that. This is over in the East. It has nothing to do with us. We're oceans away. We are so far away from Iran. I literally am not worried about them. I'm just not. But here's Trump literally saying, oh, well, it's going to be like Venezuela, though. It's like, no, Venezuela was quick, efficient, lethal. It was in our own backyard, literally. It was being done to oust a Chinese presence here in the West. We're actually going to get the oil and use it for ourselves now. Like, there was so many benefits to doing what we did in Venezuela, and it also showcased and reminded the rest of the world not to fuck with us. We kidnapped their world leader inside of, 90 minutes? Not a single American soldier's life was lost. We slaughtered about 100 of them, and we left. And we made a statement, and it reminds the world, we are the world's hyperpower, bitch. We are untouchable, okay? None can compare to us. I loved everything about it. When it comes to the Middle East, when it comes to Iraq, when it comes to Iran, when it comes to Afghanistan, nothing is ever quick there. Nothing is ever efficient. In fact, everything that happens in the Middle East is always long and drawn out. You're dealing with people over there who are passionate about their beliefs and their religion. They're passionate. They're willing to die for their cause. They continuously hide. They breed like Catholic rabbits. They're constantly reproducing more and more future enemies. And it's just like, the regime change doesn't work. It always sours on us. We go there, we change the regime, and within 20 years, every single time, they're our new enemy again. Or they've created a new enemy, or they've allowed a new enemy. And so that's my problem with this, truthfully. It's all stupidity. It's all stupidity. And, you know, I wrote down here even, like, the Middle East, it's never quick or efficient. Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan, all great examples of failures of regime change in the past. I am so sick and tired of seeing this happen as a young millennial. It's just like a pattern. And what this has really led to, by the way, and the reason why Trump compared this to Venezuela is because what we did in Venezuela was popular, especially with younger people. I've noticed this on my TikTok, which is, it's like so many Gen Zers are on my TikTok, and I love it. I love it. I like the Gen Zers' attitude overall. And they loved Venezuela. And so that's why he's comparing it to Venezuela. But there's a generational divide already happening right now when it comes to Middle East and foreign entanglements. I was actually looking at a Rasmussen Reports poll. There's a 40-point divide in literally the under 40 voters compared to the over 40 voters when it comes to Middle East engagements and foreign entanglements. Literally, we're at a point now where most people under 40, and these are, by the way, going to be America's somewhat present already, but definitely future voters for sure, as the over 40 people and especially over 60 will start hitting the deceased line sooner. Under 40 people are massively in favor of us not getting involved in foreign entanglements, not getting involved in the Middle East. And that's for a reason. Whereas the over 40 people tend to be very war hawkish, and they're very, oh, we got to take the fight to them, and they're the ultimate evil, and oh, this and that. And it's like, it's crazy where we're at right now, but this is a generational divide that is now occurring because, you know, of the difference in what the messaging was for the over 40ers, and then the difference, truthfully, not just in what the messaging was to the under 40ers, but most importantly, under 40ers like myself, like anybody in Gen Z, we grew up during this shit. I saw how fruitless it was. None of it meant anything in the end. The Iraq war, for instance, a lot of this was what's happening with Iran right now is giving me bad vibes, like Iraq war vibes. We got all this faulty intelligence from CIA, MI6, Mossad. They all were telling us there's weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. You have to go there. You must stop this. And it's like years later, 4,000 soldiers dead, and $2 trillion later, by the way. That's what it cost us. And it actually is costing us 3 times that amount total because we took out debt that we're now paying interest back on to fund that war. All over what? All over what? And that's my biggest fear with Iran. That's really what my biggest fear with Iran is. It's like, do they have nuclear capabilities? Because just under a year ago, we bombed the shit out of them, and Trump went on TV and said, it was total annihilation. They are no longer capable of developing nukes. We eliminated that threat. Yet here we are, and now all of a sudden it's, well, they have nuclear capabilities. It hasn't even been a year. They have nuclear capabilities. They must be stopped. I smell bullshit. I'm just going to be honest with you. I smell bullshit. All right, let's see here. We got another spammer. Spammers get deported. What's your name? I'll shout out your name though. Black Cat Alley. What a name. That sounds like the username of somebody who has 2 moms. You're going to be deported, buddy. Boom. All right, deported. Farewell. Your citizenship to American Advocates has been revoked. Get the fuck off my channel. All right. Anyways, I'll take a look at some comments here before I continue on. Let's see. Grandparents always said you got to worry about cleaning up your own kitchen, says Walter Peters 9201. Actually, yes, and this is exactly where I was going to go next. The reason why there's such a generational divide occurring right now when it comes to Middle East entanglements likely has something to do with the fact that, I don't know, the cost of living here sucks. I'm on the youngest end of the millennial spectrum. When will I be able to own a home? I don't know. Well, I kind of do know, but let me tell you something. If I was to get into my personal life with you, you'd understand just what it's taking for me to succeed. I am succeeding, and in the next 10 years or so, I'll probably be pretty wealthy. I own businesses. But it took a lot. It took a lot more than it for me than it did for older generations to get up and running like this. It took a lot. Older generations, they're still viewing this from a different lens. They grew up at a time where houses were $17,000. Those houses are now worth 581 grand. These people, these boomers that are all for these foreign entanglements and this foreign policy, this war hawkish policy, they have their stock market portfolio, like their 401ks are all entangled in the stock market, which is doing great. They're living off Social Security now, something I won't receive, something Gen Z won't receive. Like I go to the grocery store, prices are still going up. So it's like, first and foremost, the golden age was promised to us by Trump, and it doesn't seem like we're heading in that direction at all. It actually seems like Trump has forgotten all about the golden age, though he claims we're in it, and I'm not buying that. And I'll tell you this too. Like, if you're a conservative right now, you think I'm an anti-Trump or TDS, or I'm not. I voted for Trump. And I think in some ways he's a net positive, but I think he's more of a net positive, or going to be more of a net positive from a social standpoint. He's sparked a fire in a lot of young people, which is ultimately good. But like, Trump just doesn't have what it takes, as far as I'm concerned, to really get the job done. And now we're seeing the same mistakes being carried out by this administration. Yesterday's stream that I put on, I was telling everybody about the same mistakes he's making on immigration, mass deportations. Midterms are coming up. Trump's softening his stance, just like he did in his first term. He softened his stance so Republicans could try to win the midterms. Republicans lost the midterms in 2017. His stance on immigration back then stayed softened. Fast forward 2 years, 2019 was one of the worst years for border crossing incidents that we had had in 20 years. It wasn't since Bill Clinton in the year 2000 at that point that we had seen such catastrophic border crossing incidents. Entire caravans were being launched up into the southern border again in 2019. That was under Trump. It was because he softened his stance for the midterms, and then the Republicans didn't even win it. He's doing that again. Now we have the same thing going on again. He's being distracted by foreign meaningless stuff. And maybe it's not entirely meaningless. Maybe Iran has nuclear capabilities. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump went on TV last year and said, no new nuclear capabilities, total annihilation. Of course a president's going to say that to the people. He doesn't want to cause concern. Intel might have been saying otherwise. But I'm viewing this from multiple different lenses. The main lens being the Monroe Doctrine, which is really what we need to focus on the most. America is in the toilet right now, and it shouldn't be, and it doesn't need to stay there. But if we keep getting wrapped up in all of these foreign distractions overseas in the Middle East, where literally the Middle East is promised biblically to remain chaotic and unpeaceful, no peace there in the Middle East until Christ's return, pretty much. That's how I view it. I view it from those lenses. That's why I get so frustrated about it. So, that's where I'm at with it. I don't know how you guys feel about it. This America is fucked at the moment, says Cody 8000. Man, exactly. Listen, would this not be a little bit more well received, do you think, if cost of living was great already? And it's like, and I'll say this, I'll be somewhat charitable. Cost of living oftentimes does take about 2 years inside of a president's term to really see the effect of that president's economy. That's true. That's a pattern. But nevertheless, it's like, I just have noticed prices going up. It's like, at the very least, they should have not gone up. Some prices are going up right now, okay? And it's not even because of tariffs. Just some prices have gone up. It is what it is. Like, my rent's not gotten any cheaper. Gas is kind of, where I'm at, gas is kind of hovered now for quite a while. Not that gas actually even matters that much. It makes up less than 2% of most Americans' total purchases throughout the year. But, if things were really good, if millennials could be living the American dream we were promised, if Gen Zers could look on that horizon, if Gen Zers right now could look at millennials in their 30s and 40s now even and say, wow, they got houses, they're doing well for themselves, that's about to be me in a couple of years, this would be a little bit different as far as the reception of another possible war in the Middle East. It still would not be a great reception. It still wouldn't be. I'd still be critical of it, but I wouldn't be devastated by the news like I almost am feeling right now, because everything here sucks, and it doesn't seem like the president's focusing on Americans at all. We have to put America first. We have to get to that point now. If we don't put ourselves first, there is no America to help out in the old world anymore. Not that I really want us to be doing much of that in the future anyway. That leads me to my next point, by the way, something I've been harping on now on this channel as well recently, as I feel like America should be reevaluating our allies. Where the fuck is NATO? Where are they? When you look at a world map, and you can just visualize this. Some of you might not even know where Iran is on a map, but you can all understand that when it comes to Iran's proximity to America versus Iran's proximity to Europe and NATO, our NATO allies over there, who's closer? Who's more of a threat to who? We have an entire ocean separating us from there. We have 2 oceans separating us in this Western Hemisphere. Europe is like right there. This should be more of Europe's problem. But where's NATO? I've already made a whole video on the history of NATO. NATO is existing right now because of the United States. We have funded them. We've been overly charitable to them. NATO was only supposed to be around for 10 years at its inception. Most people don't know that. It's now been close to 80 years. And America has been funding everything overseas there. We're the ones with 100 military bases spanning across Europe with over 100,000 troops on standby ready to go. Now we have an additional 35,000 troops being sent in this new armada to the Persian Gulf to spy on Iran and be ready for strikes. And it's like, where's NATO? Where are their troops? Oh, that's right. They hardly have any because they've been forming their perfect socialist societies on US dollars. And when I say that, I mean, we have funded their protection. NATO, like I said, was only supposed to be around for 10 years. It was because we were supposed to protect them for 10 years as we were being benevolent and charitable even back then, even just 4 years after World War II, pretty much. We still agreed, hey, we understand, a ruler rose up there that was a bit tyrannical. He was, originally rising up because of economic issues. The war caused you guys to suffer even more. We'll help you out. We'll help you get back on your feet, rebuild your society and your economy. Also rebuild your defense. That was the original deal of NATO, and it was supposed to be a 10-year deal, and it's gone on for 77 years now. They still don't have a great military because they've relied on us, and we've been complicit in that. This is America's fault in some way. All of the prior politicians who put up with this bullshit. Now we have a fucking useless parasitic allies, plural, in the form of NATO, who can help us with Iran, and honestly, they should be the ones leading the charge. It should be reversed right now. It should be us going, oh, hey, listen, NATO, we understand. Iran's a little scary to you. Maybe they have nuclear power over there. NATO, go on in, do your thing if you want. We won't try to stop you. We'll render aid. We'll send aid. We'll send food and medical supplies. Good luck. And NATO should have it. If they want to do it, it should be NATO. It shouldn't be America. It should be reversed. Instead, it's NATO probably going to say, well, we'll send aid or something, but yeah, go on in. Send in those 35,000 soldiers, those 35,000 American lives. Send them in, America. Well, they sit on their ass like they always do, and they continue to rely on American defense, and then they have the nerve to flaunt in our face their perfect socialist. I don't understand how America doesn't have free health care. It's like, gee, I don't know. RFK Jr. just exposed partly why that is. We absorb the cost of medical supplies for them. We absorb the cost of all that shit, their pharmacy. All of that shit's cheaper because of us. We've been paying for it. We've also been paying for their defense so they don't have to allocate funds into that. They allocate it instead to their society. And now it's all coming back to bite us once again. It all comes full circle. And that's going to be the theme of this channel going on. It all just comes full circle. NATO sucks. We shouldn't be a part of it anymore. Hey, I have a super chat here. Stop everything. Stop everything. Mark Russo, 4508. An incredible American advocate. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. He says, my first super chat ever. Thank you, man. This is actually one of, I've had a few super chats now, but this is one of, you're up there. It's one of the first few. My man, you are killing it. I appreciate you, man. Let me give that a thumbs up. Thank you. Appreciate you. And then right afterwards, look at this guy. Frezzy69 says, you have zero education. Geez, you ride so high with the $1.99 super chat only to sink so low. Because honestly, when it comes to people like Frezzy69, I really, truly value their opinion. So that's devastating for Frezzy to be in my chat telling me I have zero education, that I don't understand anything. That devastates me. I mean, that is, oh my God. I might end the stream right now. Guys, I have zero education. I might end the stream. Should I end the stream? I might end it. Oh, goodness. Anyways, that's the whole point in all of this, though. That's really the whole point in all of this. I have Middle East fatigue. And if you're in the chat right now, if you have Middle East fatigue, put a 1 in the chat. If you have Middle East fatigue like I do, you don't want to see an armada sent to Iran. You're tired of dealing with senseless wars. Put a 1 in the chat. Let me know. Let me know if you agree, because we gotta stop this. We gotta put America. I'm seeing the ones come in. We gotta put America first. I mean, we gotta fix ourselves first. Ones, great. They're coming in. They're coming in. Yeah, yep. They're coming in. Appreciate that. Listen, then there's a 4, whatever 4 means. I have 1, parking lot, the Middle East. Yeah. Listen, I understand the whole parking lot, the Middle East thing too. Truthfully, that would solve the problem, but that's never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. So, it is what it is. Anyways, that's what I was coming on here to say. It's like, if we don't fix our own country, and we haven't, and the Trump administration has been failing miserably at that, if we don't fix our own country, you cannot expect people to be thrilled about another possible Middle East war. The tensions are rising. This is looking like Iraq all over again. It really is. And, at the very least, please, it's like we gotta get that golden age we were promised. If we don't have that, it's like voter poison. It's really how I'm viewing this. It's like voter poison, honestly, to be doing this. And that generational divide, it's real. Rasmussen Reports is reporting on it, and you can kind of observe it. You can observe it on social media. Young people are not happy about Middle East entanglements, and rightfully so. It does not work. It just doesn't work. That's where I'm at on it. That's what I wanted to come on here to say today. NATO needs to step up. This is not going to be like Venezuela. That is propaganda. That's Trump propaganda. We got to call it for what it is. Like I said, I voted for Trump, but this is Trump propaganda to compare possible future Iran entanglements with what we did in Venezuela. It's going to be a night and day difference. I mean, really, it really is. We need to double down on this Monroe Doctrine. We need to protect our Western Hemisphere. I am not a 100% pro-isolationist at all. It's just especially nowadays, it's just too unrealistic. We rely on other countries for things. We shouldn't, by the way, but we do. And we need to fix that. I have one of the things I harp on too. We need to up our own manufacturing. We need to focus on our GDP. We need to ramp up everything, our infrastructure, all of that. And the liberals, by the way, liberals secretly fantasize on this idea, right? They're like, well, China's just superior to us. Liberals may as well come on here and say, glory to China. We should submit to China. They're such a superior country. I mean, Xi Jinping is just amazing, right? Liberals are so fucking brain dead. And so they're like, we need China. Without China, we cease to exist. They do everything for us. And we'll never get manufacturing ramped up in time. Our infrastructure's hopeless. It's like, fuck you, you traitor piece of shit. We need to start working on it now. Who gives up hope? Cowardly, gutless liberals give up hope. The rest of us look at America and we go, glory to America. Glory to this American empire. Mistakes were made decades ago when it comes to China. It's not hopeless. We need to start learning how to take care of ourselves, produce for ourselves, fix our own nation, fix our own economy, focus on America, America first. Then 20, 30, 40 years from now, something's going on in the Middle East. Do we want to get involved again? We look at it from a different lens at that point. Right now, it's almost sickening though. Like I'm literally, I'll tell you this is a personal story and it bothered me so much. I don't know obviously this was a stranger I saw at the grocery store the other day. I don't know what his political affiliations are. I tend to despise liberals, but it's like, there's still a human compassion element here. Maybe he's a conservative, liberal, doesn't matter. I was walking down the grocery store aisle about last week and I saw a guy looking at items in his cart and on the shelf. And he was like a middle-aged guy. I mean, he was probably in his late 40s, looked like he probably had a family he was shopping for. And he looked like a good guy. He was on a calculator on his phone. I could see it when I was walking by him. He was adding up the totals of the food. He didn't have that much food in his cart, by the way. And that really bothers me as an American. I mean, honestly, that really bothered me, that image. I walked by him and I saw, oh my God, this guy's adding up the total because he has to figure out what he has to put. I saw him at some point in time, I passed by him again. It's like his cart had a little bit less in it. He was putting stuff back. It's like, this is America. I shouldn't have to see stuff like that. That's crazy to me. And here we are. And what the cost will be if we strike Iran? $200 million. To governments nowadays, that's actually not that much money. But like, how are you going to justify $600 million in strikes again when you told us just 8-9 months ago that we totally annihilated Iran's nuclear capabilities. Now we have to strike them again. That's going to be anywhere between $400 to $600 million if we only strike them once again. If we go to a war with Iran, right? China's moving ships now. They're saying they're doing their military practices, the right whatever they call it. It's like China's trying to amp it up a little bit. Iran doesn't seem to want to back down again, and tensions are going to rise. I doubt we'll get involved in a war, truthfully. I do doubt that. But if, God forbid, we do, wars are going to cost trillions of dollars. It will destroy us. It will just, if we get involved in another multi-trillion-dollar war, $2, $3, $4 trillion war, I don't think the American economy recovers from that. I really don't. And, that's what bothers me is just, it's like to see Americans in a grocery store, that guy, I literally, that image is like burned in my mind. It's like he was adding up the cost of his grocery shopping cart. We shouldn't really have to be at that point, like in that kind of a position as Americans. It shouldn't be that intense. He looked concerned. He was like, I don't know it's like, you can just tell by the look on his face. It's like, that's just shouldn't be. And I've harped on this one before too. Homeless veterans, that should not be a thing. Why are there homeless fucking veterans? That also pisses me off. So I'm just going on tangents and rants now at this point in time, but that's what I was coming on here for. We need to pay off the national debt, says Trazon. I agree with that. And a lot of people don't, but a lot of people don't realize that when they say it's pointless to pay off the national debt because that's all, what are we in debt to? What money is it? It's like, do you not understand? That's boomer ideology right there. That's boomer logic. It was the boomers that literally said, wow, what a great economy. Let's run it like a drag strip and milk it dry and not even be concerned about the future generations at all. Let's just take complete advantage of it while we can. And then we'll just tell the younger generations they got to work a little bit harder. That's what boomers did. We have to rise up and be more responsible than that. And perhaps there's some sort of an opportunity in the future to currency swap it, to cancel out the debt more or less. There's all this talk about cryptocurrency, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, that's to say that we don't need to pay down the national debt. I'll put it to you like this. If you could snap your fingers and pay off the national debt, life would drastically improve in America if we did that. Drastically. We can't do that. But it's like, that's something that we should be focusing on. I agree. And it's like we just keep outspending it. And we just keep spending more. We're adding more to the interest. It's honestly gross. It's a gross mismanagement by our politicians. And the craziest part about it is it's like almost every president, you go back in time over the last 50 years, almost every president over the last 50 years has added to the national debt. Oftentimes, at the very least, usually they double it. It is mind-blowing. I mean, it is mind-blowing how this has been handled. We need better people in our politics here. Billionaires pay no tax, yet I have to pay $150,000 for education. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, hey, listen, there's always going to be loopholes for billionaires. The way they don't pay taxes is usually by owning real estate. The dollar is fucked. The dollar is kind of fucked. I've harped on this too. If I'm going to go off on my little NATO tangent rant like I did earlier about how NATO should really be leading the charge against Iran while America takes a step back in a perfect world, we need to reevaluate our current allies. We should be making allies more with countries like Italy, El Salvador, Argentina, Japan, etc. These are the countries that should be our new allies. They're countries that actually like us. They actually want to do business with us. Our NATO allies, they hate us. They despise us. And they want to run into the hands of China. Furthermore, this is very controversial, but I'll say it anyway. Why we ever treated Russia the way that we did and drove them into the hands of China the way we did, I'll never know. All over a corrupt, disgusting country like Ukraine. That, by the way, ask yourself, answer this one honestly. What the fuck has Ukraine ever done for you as an American or for America as a country? I'll answer it for you because liberals will jump through like 80 different mental gymnastic hoops to come up with some bullshit. None of it means anything. The answer is nothing. Yet for some reason, we were like, oh my God, Russia's attacking Ukraine. This is it. I mean, fucking sanction them into oblivion. Under Joe Biden, we weaponized our U.S. dollar under Joe Biden. Trump sanctioned them too. Trump's not off scot-free from that. But under Biden, probably one of the worst mistakes he actually made and why he will forever go down as one of the worst presidents in American history. We weaponized our U.S. dollar against Russia in peak Biden presidency years. And it's what caused Vladimir Putin to realize it could be weaponized against him and made him plan with China. We drove him into the hands of China more to the point where they said, we need to start weakening this US dollar. We need to get off this US dollar. We need to start bypassing it. And that's exactly what they've done. And it's destroying our US dollar. And that's all because of the way we handled Russia. I don't buy it. Listen, just like I kind of compare this Iran thing with Iraq, we were deceived with Iraq. We might be getting deceived with Iran. I don't buy into this whole we need to be in the Middle East all the time kind of thing. We have cities. Let me go off on a quick tangent again. I meant to say this earlier. We have cities like Dearborn, Michigan. Have you done your research on that yet? Dearborn, Michigan, 52% Muslim. It's to the point of where the mayor there is Muslim, who's printing out magazines now and newspapers only written in Arabic. He's telling white Americans who were born and raised there that they don't belong in his city. And on top of it, they're changing the street names there to, I kid you not, there's a street named in Dearborn, Michigan, Osama Siblani Way. They changed it from a good old American name to Osama Siblani Way. How about we focus on the problem that we have with Muslims here in our own country? How about we do that? You don't even hear Trump talk about Dearborn, Michigan, but he's all over Iran right now for whatever reason, separated by a whole ocean and entire countries and continents. They're literally halfway across the world, and we're focused on Iran. Meanwhile, we have Dearborn, Michigan still. I have a whole playlist on this channel devoted to Dearborn, Michigan, because it's startling. How about we deal with that? This is what I mean by Monroe Doctrine and focusing on America first, focusing on our domestic issues, because we've got plenty of them. We got to fix it. Fuck Dearborn. Let's talk about America instead. Dearborn isn't America. Liberals selling unborn archers. Huh? I like Russia. William Master 1620. I like Russia too. Listen, I don't like Russia. I don't like them. I just think they're a boogeyman to us now. They're just nothing more than a boogeyman. That's really what they are. They've been blown out of proportion as some sort of enemy that they really didn't have to be. And this angers people, but I say it all the time. Vladimir Putin is actually pretty diplomatic. He's actually a pretty nice ruler when it comes to Russia, especially compared to their past rulers. I guess he's called a president, but let's be honest, that's not what he is. It's like we wasted all these years. Vladimir Putin's getting older now. You don't want to know what Russia could be like against us if Putin's not in office anymore and if the ruler gets changed, which oftentimes, by the way, tends to happen through like regime change, assassinations. We've wasted now like a decade or more hating Putin, hating Russia, when at the very least we could have been friendlier with them. We should be trading with these people. We should be lifting the sanctions. Ukraine wasn't worth it. Ukraine's not a country that means anything to me. It's a waste of taxpayer dollars. It's a waste of time and effort. And it's a waste to isolate Russia and drive them into the hands of China. So, and you know, it all goes back to that old world thing and the Monroe Doctrine. That's the whole point of the stream. Monroe Doctrine. Trump gave us a little bit of hope at the beginning of this year. Venezuela Monroe Doctrine. But it's like, here we are. We're back now in the Middle East. We're probably going to wind up spending a lot of time this year trying to usher in a new peace deal between Russia and Ukraine, as if that was ever going to work. And, you know, it's just like, this is just not based on any form of reality. The reality is Russia's already conquered some of Ukraine. We should just let them have what they took and lift the sanctions off of them. I just don't care. That's how little I care about that side of the world. Hopefully everybody gets that. Yeah, your country forced Ukraine to not have any nukes. They gave them up, Alvaro 2026. They gave them up. Not my fucking problem. You know, liberals always want to talk about, you're ignorant, dude. You know, it was Ronald Reagan who really decided to send all the jobs overseas to China. It's like, okay, yeah, he did. We gave him up. Same thing with Ukraine. They gave him up. They gave him up. We said we'd protect them. Okay. That was what, 30, 40 years ago? How about NATO protects them? Again, where the fuck is NATO? That was the other point of the stream. Where's NATO? They can't, by the way, NATO won't send a single fucking soldier to Ukraine, but they'll send the soldiers to Greenland to protect the borders they don't believe in as liberals. They'll send their soldiers to Greenland, barely any of them, by the way, because they don't have Europe is so pathetic. It's so pathetic. But they'll send the soldiers for demonstrations against Trump, right, to Greenland. As soon as Trump says, well, we really do need to acquire Greenland. We really do for security reasons. They go, oh my goodness, send soldiers there. but they won't send a single one to Ukraine. And NATO will buy, or they'll buy Russian oil, which helps Russia fund the war against Ukraine. So it's like, it just exposes European hypocrisy. They're hypocrites to America. They take our dollars behind the scenes, but grandstand against us. And then when it's coming to the Russia-Ukraine conflict, oh, this is terrible what Putin's doing. We stand with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine behind the scenes. Please, Putin, sell us your Russian oil. We blew up the pipeline. There, but if we hadn't done that, Europe would still, Germany loved that pipeline coming out of Russia. They loved it. Give us the oil, Daddy Putin. But then they go on TV and they say, we stand with Ukraine. This is terrible. It's like, you're funding the war, you jackasses. It's crazy. Is Ukraine still a thing? It shouldn't be. Honestly, it shouldn't be. Ukraine should just be cut in half down the middle of the country. The East goes to Europe like they want. The West goes to Russia like they want. And that's really what that war came down to. Most people don't even know the history of it because most people who care about Ukraine are liberal headline readers with a 85 Q. They read a headline, they go, this is terrible what Vladimir Putin's doing. It's like, no, that war started because they had a vote, they had an election, and the very far Western Ukrainians identify more with Russian culture because of how close they are to Russia. And in the vote where they were given the choice, they voted to become part of Russia. And the people of Ukraine didn't like that. The leaders didn't like that. So they said, well, that vote must have had Russian interference. It's a fake vote. It doesn't count anymore. Then they said there's Russian spies in the western part of Ukraine. We got to bomb them. So they were basically bombing their own people. And then Vladimir Putin steps in and says, okay, well, they voted for this. We're taking it. That's like, people just don't know. They just don't know. People are just so uninformed. It's actually gross. So, but that's what I think should happen. Cut Ukraine in half. It shouldn't even be a country anymore. Get rid of it. Then it's one less problem to deal with. You know, if only the Middle East were that easy, and it's not. But Ukraine could be a lot simpler than what it's been made out to be. We just have a bunch of pussies leading these countries, you know, and none of them want to really do anything about this properly. You know, East Ukraine, Europe. West Ukraine, Russia. Problem solved. We Pontius Pilate that shit afterwards as Americans. We wash our hands of it. That's what I'm all for when it comes to the East. Just wash our hands of it. We're done. We're done. We're done. We have our own country to take care of. We have Canada. We have Prime Minister Mark Carney literally threatening to give up security secrets to China. We got to deal with that. We really needed to buy Greenland. We didn't get that. I mean, I could just keep going on. I am so disappointed with this Trump administration. Not because I'm mad at him like liberals are, but because he's just not going far enough. He's just not going far enough. I'll take some comments here. I've exhausted the topic, but I'll take some comments here, see if anybody has anything to add. Stop giving the European Union help because they don't care anymore, says Rudy Armenta 3512. I completely agree with that. I've made a video on why we should leave NATO, actually. Mainly because, like I said earlier in the stream, NATO was only supposed to exist 10 years. People don't know that, but it's true. Let's see. Do you know the history of Ukraine? You're just yapping about what you don't know about, jackass. I don't see you contributing anything, Anatoly. Anna, you're an op! Anatoly Tokarev. Do you know anything about the history of Ukraine? You can't make this up. You want to talk about that when you have that name? Get out of here. Oh, my goodness. Eugene Dudley. When the country runs out of silver, we need Greenland silver. We just needed Greenland, Eugene Dudley. We just needed to get it. And we compromised for no reason. We should have never compromised with Denmark or the European Union. We should have forced a purchase of Ukraine. That way it's civil, no need for an invasion, but also no option. It's like, we're America. We just captured Maduro. We ripped him out of his home compound in 90 minutes. What the fuck is Denmark going to do? Denmark, fun fact about Denmark, by the way, in World War II, Denmark folded in I think it was less than 6 months, was it? Denmark literally folded. They're so pathetic and weak. Yet for some reason, they got to grandstand against us, and Trump, for whatever reason, cucked out. It should have literally been us saying, hey, Denmark, it's time to sell us Greenland. $750 billion, we're buying it. That should have been how that went. Instead, it was, we'll make a deal with them. You know, it's ridiculous. We need to own Greenland, bottom line. Yeah, because we know how separating country in East and West works. True about Korea. But you know what? South Korea still holds up to this very day. So And that really, the Korean thing, I think that was the best solution anyway. And by the way, I also just don't care. That's another, you want to talk about a country I don't care about? That's another example. I don't care that much about the old world. I am forced to talk about this stuff on my channel because we keep sticking our nose over there far more than we should. We should maintain some sort of a military presence there, but we need to stop acting as the world's police overall. We should continue to trade over there, yada, yada, yada. But, like, these wars are so stupid, these battles, these skirmishes. NATO should have been established 67 years ago. NATO should be managing the Eastern Hemisphere now, not us. It's really all so pathetic. Yeah, exactly. William Masters 1620. People who keep, well, that's why I don't read most of their chats, because they're all just brain dead. People who keep bashing this guy but not giving one single counterpoint. They can't. They literally can't. I'm here to educate the masses, even the filthy masses. Not by choice, but because the filthy masses can't help themselves but look at a clean, fresh, well-spoken, intelligent, handsome, good-looking, super strong, masculine guy like me, and they go, I hate everything he's saying, but I know it's true. That's what's going on right now. That's why they're all here. They can't actually, it's all ad hominem attacks because they literally can't add anything. But, I'll take it. One-on-one, I have a saying, I do not cast pearls to swine. A lot of these people in the chat are swine, right? I don't cast pearls to them. I don't engage with them one-on-one because you're never going to convince them otherwise. He who argues with a fool is a fool. They're swine. You don't give pearls to swine. But I am here to cast pearls to people like you, William. I'm here to cast pearls to anybody who actually understands what America First is and actually understands what we should actually be focusing on, actually cares about America. Fuck NATO, says Kristen G. Kristen G is my goddess. I agree. Fuck NATO, Kristen. Fuck them. They're a lousy ally. They're only our ally on paper. Kristen, I don't know if you saw the World Economic Forum, but that was very revealing. The World Economic Forum, they all grandstanded against us. They all praised China, Emmanuel Macron of France, who America had to liberate in two instances in both world wars. We liberated France. We gave tens of thousands of soldiers' lives to do so. And in just under 100 years, now Emmanuel Macron says, we want an increase in Chinese presence. They hate America. They hate us. So I agree with that. Fuck NATO. How long have you been doing this, says little CJ? Not long. I've only been doing this. I've only been going live for about a week. I just started going live for about a week. Because I get good reach going live. I get much better reach than I do. YouTube's not long form friendly anymore. And I hate YouTube shorts. I've had YouTube shorts go what I guess you'd call micro viral on this channel. I think it was like my 4th or 5th ever YouTube short I posted when I created this channel back in like March or April of last year. It went kind of micro viral. It got like 276,000 views, got a lot of subscribers from it. But like shorts are like fast food. It's like, it's not good for you. There's no substance to them. I like long form stuff, but long form videos on YouTube just get destroyed, which is why anybody who's agreeing with what I'm saying here should like this stream, subscribe to this channel, and turn on post notifications. So when I post long form videos, because I'll still post them, you can click on it, give me the watch time, leave a comment, etc. It does help a lot in the algorithm. But yeah, YouTube hates it. YouTube hates the long form nowadays. So I'm going live. I've been going live for about a week now. And I'm going to keep going live because I have fun going live. I genuinely like it. I even actually, to be honest with you, this might upset the haters. I don't know. It might discourage them from chatting anymore. I actually go back and I love the haters. The first thing I do every morning, I'm not even going to lie to you, I wake up, I pour myself a little bit of an energy drink, I sit down, and I go to my YouTube studio and I go to the hidden comments section, the comments that are so like out there and insane that YouTube automatically flagged them. I go and I show all and I read them all and I just laugh my ass off. It is so fucking fun to me. I love it. We will take Greenland if we want it, says William Masters. I agree, and we should. Well, I don't agree with that because Trump kind of cooked out on the deal, man. But we should take Greenland. We need, in order for Arctic control to be ours in the future, and that's going to be vital, our national security depends on it, we need to own Greenland. Denmark's World War II history is lousy. I do not trust Denmark owning Greenland. They have a lousy track record when it comes to yielding to tyrants. The only export America has is the USD. You don't need a counterpoint to opinion. It's just not facts. Oh, good one, question mark. I don't need to address that any further either. It's just an opinion, right? Fink has bought all the pepper. Greenland is already ours, all but name for now. Fucking cry. Greenland is ours, says Asmodeus 420. I don't agree, man. I'll tell you why I don't agree. The deal didn't really move the needle on the deal that we already had made with Denmark back in the 1950s. And that deal, of course, was we call up Denmark and we say, hey, we want to build a military base here, and Denmark agrees. Now the needle's been moved slightly to where apparently we just don't need to have Denmark's permission anymore. So they've given us more sovereignty, they called it. But we don't own it. We need to own the land. We need to own all of Greenland. It needs to be ours. And it still isn't. That's important. Purchase Ukraine now? No, I don't want to purchase Ukraine at all. I want Ukraine to cease to exist as a country for all I care, to be honest with you. If Denmark took Trump in 4 hours, would it be okay? Took Trump what? Oh, like capture him? Denmark is not capturing, no country is capturing Trump. The way we captured Maduro, no other country can replicate that. Our military is so powerful. We're so powerful. We're a hyper power in this country, in this world, America. We're a hyper power. No other country can replicate us when it comes to military power. No other country. And yeah, not even China. For all the liberals out there that really love China, liberals will jerk off to the idea of China being the world's hyperpower. It's like a sexual fantasy to them. They're like, oh, China conquering America. Oh, China conquering America. They fucking love that idea because they're traitorous scum. But the fact of the matter is China is a paper tiger overall. And their military is far out of practice. We just need Greenland, no explanation. What do you mean, no explanation, you fuck? Do you not understand why we need Greenland? Do you not understand that? If you don't, please educate yourself. Please try to understand geopolitics and geostrategy. Please. I beg you. Next governor of Greenland, right here, says nice person. Are you talking about yourself, nice person? We need a governor in Greenland. I agree with that. Denmark would never get anywhere near Trump. Grow the fuck up, says as. Oh, well, I didn't say that, so that's one of the commenters. Obviously, you don't shit about the part of the world. What I'm hearing, jeez, God, see, that's Anatoly. Listen, please learn some English. Yeah, he's pretty much all over the goddamn place. I mean, all over the place. I mean, he's all over the place. We need Iran's oil also. I don't know if I even agree with that. You know, is it even worth it? We just took Venezuela, and theirs is a crude sour oil, so it's a little harder to use, but it's not impossible. Actually, America's strength lies in processing that kind of oil and using it. But like, I don't know, Venezuela has great oil reserves. I don't see how we need Iran's oil. I don't see how we need to be involved in the Middle East at all. Do I have a real job? I have multiple jobs. I own my own businesses. Greenland needs more than what they have. Why would NATO be in the Eastern Hemisphere? Why would they be? By the way, would they be? Would they be? Danielle Morton, 9956, would they be? Would NATO be here? If America got attacked on our soil, would NATO be here? We know that NATO is willing to come to the Eastern Hemisphere when it comes to defending Greenland from the big, bad, orange, evil man. They're willing to send a team of dog sledders, 50 soldiers it was, collectively 50 soldiers. The UK sent one fucking soldier. I know the UK did the Brexit thing, but they sent one fucking soldier. I think France pitched in the most with a whopping 30 it was. And that was just to grandstand against America again. If America got attacked, I have no faith in NATO. I literally actually would prefer America was not in NATO if we got attacked again. I think NATO would grandstand against America for how we handled the attack. They would say, well, we know that there's an attack going on at Pearl Harbor again, but, the way America's handling this is just atrocious. Oh, by the way, Mr. Trump, please continue to fund our defense here. Like, I have no faith in NATO whatsoever. These are the same people who think humans can be cats and dogs. I mean, dude, my chat is probably full of some people right now who don't know what gender they are. I mean, that's another thing. Bro, I agree, but in Europe, we fucking hate European politics too. Well, hey, listen, arch traction. I sympathize with Europeans who are like that, but I'll be honest with you, man. I have a lot of unpleasant experiences with Europeans on my like Twitter or on social media. They're always like, oh, we have free healthcare. They literally there's such a bad education system over there in Europe, and it's so anti-America over there that they literally think that we're the problem. They literally think we're the problem when we're literally the reason why NATO exists. We're the reason why Europe exists. If it weren't for America, if it weren't for NATO, if it weren't for America backing NATO, Russia would have absorbed everything in Europe after World War II. Plain and simple. And for whatever reason, we decided to be so kind that we allowed NATO to exist 67 years longer than it was originally intended to. And then you have European weasels on social media literally saying, well, capitalism, if capitalism was so great, you guys would be living like we do. We get 30 days off a year from our jobs. You guys only get 10. And our healthcare system is free. And it's like, motherfucker, do you not understand at all how any of this has been arranged and how America is the reason why you have it so good? It is absolutely mind-blowing. And then for Americans in my chat here who are liberals to literally argue with me over that point, to literally be that ignorant and fucking stupid, to think, oh, America's never been great. America, NATO, we should be more like Europe. I love traveling to Europe every summer because I'm gay. It's like, you are a traitor to your own country. America first. I'm going to scroll up. I'm far behind on the chats. Yeah. Not Soviet Playlist 771 says, what's it like knowing that you can go to jail for a tweet that offended someone's feelings? 12,000 a year over in the United Kingdom. 12,000 a year they're up to over in the UK. The European Union, they're following suit on that too. They love that. I mean, I'm looking at crazy stories about the British people they're going to jail. They get arrested over a tweet. They're talking about Palestine. They're speaking out against Palestine or whatever it is. They're going to jail for flying their own flag. They're going to jail for putting out the one person went to jail because he left a comment under one of the police station's Facebook posts criticizing them. And he got arrested and they said he wasted police time, valuable police time. These are true stories. You can look them up. And conveniently, what's lacking there in the UK right now? What's overall lacking in Europe right now as well? Some sort of a Second Amendment equivalent. Isn't that interesting? Liberals love the Second Amendment right now because of Alex Preddy, but overall they despise it. They just love it when it's convenient for them. Yeah, if you had guns, they couldn't, says Scotty Nunez 2315. I mostly agree with that. I think they wouldn't. It's more likely the situation. Dark Ages in a New Era. How did you hear about that UK story? I do a lot of research, Jonas. I do a lot of research. Because I created this political channel. I am now like, I've never been so chronically online in my life up until the last year. I read about everything. It's important to know what's going on across the world. And you're not going to get that information from mainstream media, So. No one in the USA has been, that's technically not true, William Masters 1620. People in the USA do get arrested over social media posts, but it's like, I think it was 50. If I remember correctly, it was like 50 people. And it's like, they're very bad posts. They're like, you have freedom of speech, except to the point of where you incite violence. And it's always pretty much been that way. Those are what the posts in America consist of. It's like true incitements of violence, promotion of terrorism, etc. I'm pretty much on board for that. You cannot incite violence. That's the one thing you can't do with your free speech. I'm mostly a free speech absolutionist myself, which is why I almost never ban comments in the chat. Say whatever you want. It doesn't bother me to begin with, and it's your right to do so. But yeah, so it's like 50 here in America. It's 12,000 in the UK because they're literally just arresting people who criticize politicians over there now. That's just how it is. It's just how it goes. You research, sure. That sounds like you're doubting me, DJ Pie. I'm sure your research is so much better than mine, though. List your source, please, says Jonas. Well, hey, Jonas, I got an idea for you, you fuckhead. How about you just use AI like everybody else does, or how about you just Google it? How about you just Google man in the UK arrested for criticizing police department? Start there. You're welcome. It's very easy nowadays. List your source. How about you use the internet like the rest of us? Do you have an X account? Do you have anything? You can search anywhere now. It's so easy. I love that one. List your source. This is not 1983, okay? I don't have the newspaper article cut out and stuffed in my back pocket to show you. All right? All right, it's on the internet. I definitely don't use Reddit for research. Reddit has turned into a liberal hive of scum and villainy. I don't watch Fox News. Darren Connolly says, dude, all you do is repeat Fox News and Newsmax. I literally don't watch either of those. Actually, if you go throughout my YouTube videos, I am showing more clips from CNN on there than I am of Fox News. But that's what an assumption does, by the way. It makes an ass out of you. And it's not hard to make an ass out of a liberal, which you're clearly a liberal. Do you think we will ever find a cure for the willfully ignorant? No. The cure is literally knowledge, and most people don't have any knowledge on anything. They're emotionally driven, emotionally led people. LOL, I won't list my source. You find it. Exactly. That's exactly it. You find it. I'm literally live right now on my phone. You think I have the source memorized? It's https://www.x.com/ the onion, blah, 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 whatever. You think I have it memorized like that? You guys are so fucking stupid. Holy shit. Use the internet. You can literally look up why people have been arrested in the UK. It's documented. There are tons of stories out there like that one. It's not like it's even an isolated incident. Maybe you can't find the exact story I'm referencing. I guarantee you, you'll read about several other ones that are very similar to it. Really not hard. You all are chronically online as it is anyway. How about you close out the porn tabs and actually read something constructive for once? Let me speed up in the chat here. New construction Tampa. It's common knowledge. It's been on the news. Exactly. These people are trying to pretend like it does. They don't want to believe it. That's the problem. They don't want to believe this shit. List the source. And then when you do, they're like, oh wow, you read the New York Post? Oh wow, you read the New York Times? It's like, yeah, I read them all. I read all of them. Oh wow, you read the Atlantic? That's your source? It's like, what do you read? What do you read? Do you even know how to read? It's so stupid. The arguments are so fucking stupid. It's tiresome. I don't watch Fox either. I don't watch mainstream news for the most part. I only watch the clips that I need to, and I formulate opinions off those, and I do independent research outside of those clips. Mainstream media is always going to be around to some degree, but it's like overall, it's all propaganda. You have to have a good propaganda filter, which obviously I do. Most people don't though. And people who are like loyal to one mainstream media news source are the most propagandized people out there. And you can tell right away. You can tell right away by the way they talk. Like Fox News, for instance, I've been so critical of this Trump administration, despite being a conservative. You can tell a Fox News viewer because it's like they're watching Fox News. Fox News has resorted to showing like literal cat videos and like discussing like stupid memes and stuff now. I can't watch it. I just can't watch it. And like they know Fox News knows Trump is watching, so they like tailor their stories now to make Trump happy. It's like, okay, I can't do this. I can't do propaganda at all. Not even Republican propaganda. Though I do find it funnier, and I'll play into the narrative once in a while to piss off liberals in all honesty, but you know. All right, that's gonna cut it all from here. If you missed the first half of the stream, you can go back and watch it. Be sure to if you wanted me to see a chat down there for some reason that I didn't, you can leave it as a comment after the fact on the stream. If it's worth my time, if I don't feel like I'm casting pearls to swine, which for most of you that's what that would be. Most of you are swine and not worthy of my attention. But if you leave something constructive, critical thinking wise, something that I can actually work with as a comment after the fact on this video, I'll reply to it. Thanks again to my super chatter today. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who tuned in. Be sure to leave a like on the stream. Subscribe to American Advocates for more content like this. Make sure post notifications are turned on. And I'll leave you all off by saying this: glory to America. God bless this glorious American empire. God bless the USA. And God bless you.